So this is a listening session. We're here to listen to you. So after a few brief comments, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn it over. When you come up, we're going to ask you to say your name and what neighborhood you live in. And like I said, we're going to listen. The council members are going to listen. And they may comment sometimes, but we really want to give everybody who is here and who wants to speak an opportunity to speak. So you can come up and speak at the microphone. We also have a number that you can text in your comments to us. And throughout the night, I will stop the people that are speaking here and read a few of those texts if we get them in. We want to hear your ideas, your goals, what you like about what's going on in Bowie, what you don't like. Don't be bashful. I don't usually have to say that to people in Bowie, but let us know. We're here. This is the whole purpose of this, so please let us know what you think should be doing that we're not doing. Budget is coming up. If you have suggestions about where the money should be spent, this is the time to have your say. And afterwards, if you have comments, you can email them to publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. And we're compiling those comments as well, and they're being shared with the council members and the city manager. If you could, we have a good number of people here, which is fantastic. If you keep your comments to a couple minutes, that will help us to get through to everyone. But we do want to hear what you have to say, so we will be as gentle with you about that as we can. As you can see, Mayor Adams is here with us in spirit, and on the screen, he is away for work in sunny Florida, I hope. Sunny, I hope. So we're going to start off the meeting with him saying a few words, and then we'll introduce the other council members that are here as well. Mayor Adams. Just give us hold on just 1 second, please, Mayor. Can we increase the volume? Okay, go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
It could be louder.
Okay, I think that's as loud as I can do.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I simply want to give you a very short to say, on behalf of the entire city council, on behalf of the city staff, I'd like to welcome everyone to your city hall. I thank you for taking the time to come out this evening, really to share your concerns, your recommendations, and what direction you want to see your city go. As I always say, remember, we're one city, one Bowie, and thank you again for coming out this evening, and I look forward to hearing from you today.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor may weigh in during the evening on various points, but you'll see him on the screen. Sometimes it may go dark, but he's still with us, so don't worry about that. Next, I'd like to introduce our Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member representing District 3, Adrian Waffo.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me all right? Are we good? Cool. I know we're in the same room, so it's a little different for us, but I want to welcome you guys to District 3. This is the district I've lived in my entire life. It's a district that I have the honor of representing here on the City Council of Bowie. And as the mayor and Una just pointed out, it's a new change in Bowie, right? Big election, but the election is over, and now it's time to govern. And so today is one of the second out of 4 opportunities for us to really hear from you guys as a community. And so, as the mayor said, we're going to listen. We may comment at some points in time, but we really want to hear what you guys have to say. And if you don't feel like it's too personal, feel free to text us so we can get those questions addressed. There's a lot of things that we want to do in the city of Bowie. You know, we are the largest municipality in Prince George's County, and it's time to start acting like it. So I'm excited to be here, and we will start taking questions after Councilman Gardner speaks.
Councilman Gardner?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Cooper, and thank everyone for coming out this evening. I am your council member one of your council members at large, Henri Gardner. For those of you who are in the audience who voted for me, thank you. For those of you who did not, I hope that I could have your vote and work for your vote for in the future. I do have a number of concerns that affect many of us here in the room this evening. But first, I want to say hello to some of my friends as I look. I see Debbie and Millie and over there, Miss Gaddy and Bowie back there. Good to see you. Happy New Year to all of those that I haven't been able to say so to. But a number of issues I do have, and oh, I'm sorry. Okay, back up. Oh, great. Okay, that I do have that are on my agenda, and I'm hopeful that I will have your support. One of them is the condition of the Bowie Town Center. I understand that crime and petty crimes, small things such as car thefts and things, sometimes gone unreported, do occur there. We do have some panhandlers that many of you have reached out to me concerned about panhandling at Marketplace, the Bowie Town Center, as well as some of the gasoline stations. So there are a number of things that residents have come forward to me and wanted to either have resolved or some attention given to. So I have shared some of those things with my council colleagues as well as the mayor and staff, and we'll continue to work to listen, to improve, and to engage as we move forward through the process. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Gardner. We expect to be joined by the other at-large council member, and that's Ingrid Harrison. She will be coming, and also District 2 Council Member Dufour Wolfley. Council Member Ndebe Madu is not able to be with us tonight. She is also traveling for business, and neither will Council Member Esteve be with us. He is away on a family matter. So with that, the microphone is open. I welcome you to come up, and let's get this thing started. Does anybody have comments?
You want to tell them to line up too?
And if you want to just, thank you for starting things off. I appreciate that. And again, if you would state your name and the neighborhood you live in, and if other people would like to get in line behind her, then we'll just move right through these. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Patricia Arnold. I live in Northridge. And I've been to a couple of meetings recently and about some of the zoning or potential new neighborhoods have come up. And I've heard people, express concerns about traffic and schools, but I haven't heard anyone, and I apologize if I missed it, I haven't heard anyone talk about how our city police force will handle things, as the city expands and grows, especially with these potentially new neighborhoods that are online. And I'd like to hear more about that, like what we're doing to support our police force and grow our police force. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. My name is Leroy Ferguson, and I live in the Essington neighborhood. And I have a three-part question. The first question is, what are Bowie's plans for green spaces in the community? The second question is, what are Bowie's plans for the old Sears building? And how often are the street lights checked in the community? Because I have actually called and reported a couple of street lights out, and I'm just not sure how expedient they are to get out to repair those. So do they check them often? How often do they check them? And would like to know about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Weaver. I'm in the Kenilworth section. My concern is about the marking of the new speed bumps that you put on Bel Air Drive, or not proper marking. I'm a facility manager. My projects are anywhere from Baltimore to Old Town Alexandria to Dulles Airport. So I've dealt with a lot of different jurisdictions and property managers. And the first one you come to, coming off Bel Air Drive, coming off 301, you have a large sign that says crosswalk, and a little teeny sign that says Bowie Home. The next one you come to, you have a big sign like this that says hump. The next one you come to has a big sign like this that says hump. The fourth one you come to has a big sign that says crosswalk and a little teeny sign that says hump. When you first install them, you put those little triangles on the face of the humps. The second and third one have them. The two where the crosswalk were, you had them on there, you removed them. The jurisdictions that I was in, where I was and had stuff to do with those speed bumps, we would put that little triangle 4 foot in front of that speed bump and on the face of the speed bump. So you had plenty of time to know where that speed bump was. 2 weeks ago, I'm leaving out going towards 301. Traffic coming in, I know where those speed bumps are. I do the speed limits. The car approaching me to that first speed bump didn't see the speed bump at all. And he was doing about 40 miles an hour. When he hit that speed bump, he almost hit me head on. It was raining that night. Obviously, he did not know where the speed bump was. He did not see the speed bump because of the little sign and no marking. He almost hit me head on. When he hit that speed bump, he swerved into my lane. So I would like to see more marking and a larger sign so people that either aren't paying attention or on their cell phone or they're not familiar with the speed bump. Or maybe even put a bigger sign like the stop signs, as big as those. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Let me just add that there are several members of the staff here this evening representing different departments, and they're listening. They're also taking notes, and there is definitely a representative from Public Works here tonight. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lord. I'm a member of the EAC and the Green Team, but today I'm speaking as a private citizen. I have lived in Pointer Ridge section of Bowie for over 30 years. I like the small town atmosphere of Bowie. I value the senior center, its activities and opportunities for volunteering. I value the farmers market, which I patronize every week when it's open, and I'm glad the Sky Zone joined the retailers at Pointer Ridge Shopping Center and hope this addition will lead to continued improvement of this area. There are some areas of interest that are very important to me, and I would like the City Council to seriously consider them. One of the reasons my husband and I bought our house is the wooded hill in the backyard. We value this green space, which we have improved by planting native plants. The wildlife and vegetation bring us great pleasure. Much of the green space in Bowie has been lost to development. By green space, I mean areas with trees, shrubs, flowers, and meadows, not grassy areas or athletic fields. Connected green space provides habitat to birds, pollinators, and other wildlife. It also provides for the well-being of people, a calm place to walk, sit, and think. These areas help to slow stormwater runoff and filter pollution and sediment, improving the water quality of our streams, which is poor. I would like the city to keep the areas that already exist, increase these areas by reducing lawn and landscaping with native plants, and encourage residents to do the same. I would like the city to improve the quality of the commercial and retail areas in our city. Most of our retail areas are unimaginative strip malls and big parking lots with minimal landscaping. You drive to the store and leave. They foster isolation, not community. I suggest we look at other communities with vibrant commercial areas and use some of their ideas. I would like public gathering places, small landscaped areas that invite me to sit and stay a while. If I buy an ice cream cone in the summer, I would much rather sit in a public space than on a bench in a parking lot overcome with auto fumes. I like eating outside at a restaurant, but it's not very pleasant when the view is only traffic. I would like more accessibility to retail areas by walking and biking. I would like the retail centers itself to be more walkable. I want to be able to go between stores without taking my life in my hands or driving 50 feet. Have you ever tried to walk from Mom's to Walgreens at Hilltop without worrying if you would survive or consider driving? I hope also that the city helps Old Bowie develop as an arts and entertainment district. The building architecture is a special resource we should preserve and improve, not lose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have just been joined by Councilwoman at Large Ingrid Harrison.
Good evening. My name is Renee Goodman, and this is Leander Jones, and we represent the Oak Pond Division, which is a townhouse development in the end section of Bowie. And our greatest concern, and the reason that we're here and we want to speak of, is we don't feel that we are being monitored enough by our Bowie Police Department. I want to let you know that I have attended at least one meeting by our Bowie president, and we have also had visitation by our Bowie police at some of our meetings, and we were guaranteed that we would be monitored on a regular basis, but that's not happening. And I can tell you why I know it's not happening, because I walk 2 miles a day throughout my development, and I see them pass me by on our major areas, which is Mitchellville and Mount Oak, and it's not happening. And I think as taxpayers, that even though we're in a townhouse development, that it would only take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, for them to at least show that we are protected, or that there's a show that we, the drug people, that we are now seeing an increase, will see that, hey, we count too. So please, we're asking, please let the Bowie Police Department know that we count too, even though we're not single-family homes, but we also are taxpayers. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Raymond Bollinger. I live in the Kimberwick division off of a racetrack road, my Bowie racetrack. My concern, and I hope it's a concern of council, also county council, is the disposition of the Old Bowie racetrack. I hope you will consider to keep it as a green space area, being ball fields or whatever. Deny any commercialization and deny any kind of, I guess, housing other than single-family residential housing. Congestion on Racetrack Road would be greatly increased with anything you do, but to put any kind of commercialization on that site would just be very detrimental to the people. I think to the people. I mean, just along with Racetrack Road, I don't know what you would do with Racetrack Road, but I'd like you, council and the city council, to consider that. Thank you.
Can I respond? Yeah, just so everyone is aware of what's going on Racetrack Road. I'm pretty sure many of you guys were at our meeting early in January with our delegation as well, and you guys made your concerns very clear about what we should do with the racetrack property now that it's up for grabs in a Pimlico deal. I'll say a couple things. The first thing is that I was just on Racetrack Road. I mean, I live here in the Longleaf community, so I rarely get over there in the morning, but we were doing school visits and finally really got a chance to go on Racetrack in the morning, and boy, is it a parking lot. And so we understand the concerns over there. We have sent a letter to the Prince George's County Executive, Angela Alsobrooks, everyone in our delegation, the county council as well, to let them know that we want to preserve it as some open space with some recreational amenities as well. Councilwoman Ingrid Harrison and myself spent the morning at Bowie State as well, trying to work with them, and it looks like we're in agreement in what the usage will be. So yes, it's a big thing that we're working on in Annapolis, and please continue to stay engaged on that issue, because we're going to need your support to make sure that the usage it gets into legislation in Annapolis.
If you just bear with me for 1 minute, I'm going to read a couple of the texts that have come in. This person says, one question I would like to ask, why do we pay the most taxes in the state, but it's not reflected in our public schools or community? The town center is full of unhealthy food choices. Things are being moved to Crofton and other areas. Another person sends in a text that says, actually, I think this person spoke, what is Bowie's plan for protection of green spaces, the old Sears building, and how often are streetlights inspected? And the third one, and then I'll let you go, is would Bowie consider some sort of incentive or rebate program for residents to purchase exterior security cameras for their homes to assist with crime prevention, similar to DC's program? Okay,
Can I
sir.
take the Bowie State question first?
Sure.
Yeah, just to speak to the Bowie State thing, this is something that is near and dear to my heart because I represent District 3, but I've also been here long enough to remember when the Bowie Town Center wasn't there. And then when it was there, how it was this sprawling, beautiful thing, and how we went from Class A businesses to Class C businesses. So I met with Bowie State last week. I know the council is engaged on this as well. We're going to make sure that we get it back to Class A businesses. We're going to make sure that startups are able to come to Bowie and thrive in Bowie. We have a lot of great ideas, but as you guys know, the economy is changing. With Amazon and a lot of things coming to the region, retail is competitive. It's different, and Wall Chapel is doing a really good job of driving people up the street. You know, Rockville is really doing a good job of taking people from Prince George's County and going over there. Tyson's Corner is doing the same thing. Annapolis is doing the same thing. So we're really engaged on making this happen as well. But as always, we're going to need your support when the time comes to make sure that the tenants or the owners of the town center understand that we're serious about making sure that we get Bowie back to the Class A businesses that we need.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your patience.
My name is Eugene Washington, and I live near Yorktown Elementary. And actually, my question was related to the racetrack itself. And my hope is that, as you said, that's developed, with a plan and in a thoughtful manner. Because as of now, you have one road in and one road out. And so if, developers were, to add numerous houses in that area, I mean, it would do quite a number on the traffic there. The lady that owns the farm a little ways down there, I guess she sold some of her property, and now there are, I believe, 4 houses on the left side going up. And just think if that was multiplied considerably. So if you all would keep us apprised of how that's going, and as numerous of us have said, keep us in mind, and not as much the developer, because all that, my understanding is all they think about is money.
Absolutely.
They don't live here.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. My name is Betty Thomas, and I've been a Bowie resident for 25 years. I have a rental property on 11th Street, so that would be you. I'd like the city of Bowie to change their practice of parking violations, residential parking violations, to being put in the name of the owner of the property rather than the tenant. I have a contract. It's a legal and binding document. They have legal possession of the property. Any other place that you drive, the owner of the vehicle is responsible for their vehicle, and if there's a ticket to be had, it goes to attached to the vehicle. Except if you're a landlord in Bowie, the tenant vehicle ticket goes in the landlord's name. I get 2 $100 tickets for my tenants' vehicles being parked on the grass. That doesn't seem logical to me. I need it fixed.
I agree with you. That doesn't, it should go to that license plate. To that license plate. I agree totally. Yeah.
And there was one instance where it had a license plate on it, and another one it didn't. I came down to City Hall to talk to them about it, and they said the database for their computer system for the rental certificate that I pay for every year does not communicate with the parking and enforcement database. And I said, it's 2020. I need you all in the same building to make that work for me.
Yeah.
Does that seem reasonable?
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Ms. Thomas. You're the best. Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Bill Arnsel. My wife and I live on Church Road, a community that borders Church Road, just about a mile south of the new Bowie ice rink. I'm here to speak of the problems that we're going to see with regard to the ice rink, pedestrian and vehicular traffic into and out of the ice rink. Presently, there is a proposal to put up a large development over on the airport on the west side of Church Road. That ice rink sits on the east side of Church Road on the north side of the bridge. There's going to be many children, if that development goes on, that are going to want to go to the ice rink. They're going to have to cross Church Road and then cross that bridge over to the ice rink, whether by walking, by bicycle, or by skateboard. That is a disaster waiting to happen. There is no way that those children can cross from that development over to that ice rink. There's no money in the budget for any improvements to Church Road, the bridge, in this budget cycle or in the next one. This is going to be years and years and years. That development over there is not compatible with Church Road as it stands now or in the near future. And that near future goes out a number of years. So I'd urge the Bowie Council to do whatever they can, whatever's necessary to protect the lives of kids that are going to want to go across from that development to the Bowie ice rink. I also might add that we need something to slow traffic on Church Road. And there's also whatever the city can do with putting up some litter signs, anti-littering signs, something like that.
Yeah.
So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, to talk about Church Road a little bit more, because it is a big issue for us, right? As many of you guys may know, this past summer, a kid tragically passed while jogging on Church Road, right? That road is clearly not compatible with the community. And I know Millie Hall and the concerned citizens of District 4 have been doing a lot on the county side to make sure that our county council and our county councilmen understand how severe this issue actually is and what we have to do to start fixing it. So we are aware with Freeway coming that one of the first things, actually the first thing we did getting sworn in was to ensure that we said that we did not want the freeway development. Unfortunately, the county council went ahead and did that. I'm looking to you guys to hold them accountable in 2022 on that one. However, going forward, we're going to have to work with the county exec, and again, show that we are the largest municipality in Prince George's County, and that we do need those dollars to come back here to improve Church Road, because kids are actually dying on that road. So this isn't just an issue of, oh, this could happen, it's already starting to happen. And with those two new developments coming, we're in a really bad space. To talk about the speed conditioning and what we can do to mitigate that issue, and Delegate Ron Watson and Eric Barron of District 24 have put a bill in Annapolis. It's a speed camera bill that should mitigate some of those issues. So they have already on the state side started doing that, and we're working in tandem with them to support that legislation as a city.
Good evening. My name is Bob Enderby. I'm between houses right now. I'm living in Heather Ridge. I'll be in the S section in a couple months. I'm here to talk about the Bowie State racetrack issue. I've heard a series of concerns, the traffic and development being the primary ones. I've also got some concerns, and I've heard concerns about taxes. I've been on that property. It's not just an automatic green space. It's going to take a substantial investment of time and money to whip it into some kind of usable shape, and then it's going to cost us money to maintain it and more staff, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to cost us money. I've also heard concerns about Bowie State putting residence halls on there and essentially driving people, having people there. And my suggestion would be that rather than the city take on that burden, the property go to Bowie State, but limits get negotiated on what they can do with it, which would alleviate the concerns of the immediate neighbors. Bowie State already has a lot of community access programs on their current campus. That could be built in. And I think they should also get a limited amount of time to complete this so that if they get the land and X years later nothing has happened, it reverts to the city. And I think that would be a good middle ground that would address most people's concerns. Thanks.
So obviously this is a big concern to everybody in the community. I mean, Racetrack Road from its historical days to now, it's a touchy subject for all of us. And with the potential of development there, I understand that that's an issue. Just to talk about a couple of things. The first thing is that Bowie State has promised us and assured us that no development will happen. We understand that Bowie State wants to grow. Again, Ingrid and I were just there this morning. We are supporters of Bowie State University. We want to see Bowie State thrive. We want to see them become competitive in the university system of Maryland, and we're going to do whatever we can to support them. However, it is the city's belief that we should own the land, and I'll tell you a little bit about why. The reality is that in 10 years, no matter if we're here or not, if Bowie State owns the land, the reality is that they can change state law, they can develop it, they can do whatever they want with it. We do know that over the next 4 years that horsing, they're going to be coming back as they make improvements to Pimlico and the Laurel Racetrack. So we will have horses back in Bowie for training for a couple of years. So this is a project that isn't going to take, it's not, recreation isn't going to come in 2 years, it's going to come 4+ years. On the money piece, we're working really hard in the state, and our state delegation is doing a really good job of making sure that we can get money from the RIFRA fund. So if we are in this deal in Pimlico and Annapolis, we want to be able to say we have X million of dollars to A, mitigate the environmental issues, and to B, build whatever we want to make it happen because of the contribution that Prince George's County gives to the RIFRA fund and to the casinos. So we're trust me, you have no idea how engaged we are on this issue. And at some point, I think that we're going to be able to say that we have a joint letter with Bowie State and we agree on the usage so we can take that misnomer of dorms and any other housing coming that way.
But can I just say one thing also? And I want to make it clear that it's not us against them. We are looking to forge, I said I want to make it clear that it's not us against them, that we are working with forming a partnership, as Adrian said, with Bowie State so we can clarify and make certain of what the usage will be and what it will not be. So we will certainly keep you apprised of those efforts and how that we're moving forward with that. But I want to let you know that we are supportive of what they're doing and their growth, and as they are supportive of us.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to hold off for just 1 second. I'm going to read a couple texts, but I also want to let people know that we have a page on our website, cityofbowie.org/racetrack, and on that page is sort of a history and a chronology of what's going on. So check in there because we'll be posting updates there as things move through the legislature, hopefully move through the legislature this session. And I'm going to read just a couple texts here. This one is from Boyd Campbell of Meadowbrook. He says, as we attempt to grow responsibly, what type of residential growth and where is the city planning to focus attention to meet demand? And what are the 5, 10, 15-year plans to offer alternative housing choices to include condos, mixed use, ADU, and other contemporary offerings? Boy, do you want to say what ADU is?
It's alternative dwelling units. In California, they have a major problem with land and the lack of affordability. And so they have, in California and some other destinations, you can actually build a detached dwelling on a piece of property for in-laws. Most often used for in-laws or for kids. You want to get out of the basement into a separate dwelling.
Okay, thank you. Here, another one, lastly, or maybe this is all from Boyd. Lastly, and when will Bowie increase destinations for family entertainment in addition to the current city amenities? So thank you for that one. And I'll read one more. Since the Pointer Ridge community is experiencing an increase in drug activity and break-ins, we need more police presence, especially during the day. Now, thank you for waiting.
My name's Yvette Conwell. I'm a Bowie resident of 30 years. I live in Woodmore Estates. I also used to live in Old Bowie, so I've lived in Bowie for a while. In terms of taxes, I'm in full agreement with the governor concerning lower or no taxes for retirees, and I'm in agreement with that. And I would like to have more senior-style homes. One level, I know Levitt provided wonderful one-level homes, but I would like a new home that's on one level. If there are going to be homes built, that's my desire. City services, I think the city has done a wonderful job in providing us services with trash and snow removal. And the solar panel initiative was outstanding, and thank you for providing that leadership to our community. I also am happy to hear that you are, the city of Bowie is working on the village initiative, and that's a good thing as well. So you're doing, or we are doing, a lot of good things. And the senior center is a good place as well. I am concerned about smart development. Even though I want a new one-level, smaller house, I am concerned about smart development. I live off of Church Road in Mount Oak, and it's hard for me to leave my neighborhood during rush hour. It's really hard. We have country roads and we have city traffic. And you've heard it before, Church Road. I was on a Church Road committee 15 years ago or 20 years ago, however long it was. And still nothing has happened. Well, we did get a traffic light. But we need more consideration before a development is authorized. We want the roads in first. We want the schools to be built before the kids come. We want a police station, and we also want a fire station. 30 years ago, I could have moved to Howard County, and they had a whole new development, and they had the schools built, the roads were in, the fire department was in, and then the houses were built. How come we cannot do that? And I want, as others have said, I want more quality retail. How many beauty supply shops do we need? And there should be a limit to how many types of those types of stores do we need. We want a variety. We don't want the same thing over and over and over again. There should be a formula for new development, which takes in those considerations that I just spoke about. And I went to Houston this summer, and I noticed that they took the old buildings and they made art space out of them, restaurants, all in an old building. Maybe we can do that with the Sears building, carve it up into meaningful things that will draw people together. There are restaurants there. Maybe we can make it a center. There's parking. Maybe we can do something wonderful there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just one second.
Pardon me, ma'am. Ma'am, you just spoke. I'm sorry, I wanted to get your name. I know you said you lived in Woodmore Estates, and I know I have spoken with many of the residents there over the years who oftentimes complain about that exit and driving and then coming onto Mount Oak Road. I've spoken with the neighbors, the residents there where the fence has been ripped down repeatedly. I know we've had a number of residents who've come up and spoke in their opinion on the racetrack as well. It is my belief that this council that you've elected is not a council that is one that is a supporter of overdevelopment or some of these projects that have come into the community. So I do want I want the residents to know that we hear you when you say open space for the racetrack, because I personally would never support any residential, any commercial on that racetrack. I personally would not support that. And I wanted to speak, ma'am, when you spoke about the retail, I agree. A number of beauty supply stores, enough. I want to ask because I don't know this legally, and if city manager, if you could make a note of this. Is it somehow, I know when businesses go to the county and apply for a business license and then giving the address that they're going to operate their business, for instance, they go to Upper Marlboro, they apply for a business license, they say they're going to operate in Bowie. Is there some way that we could somehow get involved with that, as the young lady spoke of, to maybe limit the number of businesses or repetitive businesses that are coming? I don't know if that's possible, if this body could write certain legislation or somehow add a step to where this municipality is notified saying, okay, ABC firm has applied for a business license to open up a beauty supply store. Then we can say, hey, we have our full of beauty supply stores, so in Bowie, that business license is denied, that application is denied. So I don't know if that's possible.
So it's up to the owner of the business, right?
Well, yeah, the owner of the business, of course. I mean, we're looking here in Bowie, you have the average income of $100,000 a year household and above. So businesses want to come to Bowie because the incomes are here to support those businesses. We're just not getting the right type of businesses. It makes no sense that, you come home from a hard day's work, and if you want to buy a decent dress or a pair of shoes, you have to drive to Annapolis or Tyson's. But the income is here. This is a part of what I'm talking about with this Bowie Town Center. It's ridiculous. And how, when I moved here and it was open, you had the Macy's, you had the Sears, you had the Abercrombie and Fitch, you had the Gap, Old Navy. I can go on and on. Now you're over there. I can't tell the difference between Bowie and District Heights. I can't. I mean, I don't mean to be offensive, but I have to call it as I see it. Oh, I'm sorry. As I see it. And so, I mean, next I'm looking for liquor stores. Really. So I do want you to know that it is on our radar, but because the Washington Prime Group owns this property, and rather than they wanting to see a vacancy, they'll rent to whomever wants to move in there. But somehow, some way, we have to get involved and be able to stop this. I'll share with you a very personal story, and I phoned the city manager about this. I was at the Bowie Town Center myself less than a week ago, and there's this convenience store inside of there called One Stop or something, and you walk in and they have, it's like I don't know, I was very disturbed by it, but when I walked in there, I smelled a large amount of marijuana. I'm like, what is going on here? This is not the community I live in, and I want to be a part of. So I phoned the city manager immediately and say, hey, what can we do? What's going on over here? So long story short, I I am not happy with the conditions of the Bowie Town Center and the quality of our retail. And again, I do want to say, I hear and have heard from a number of residents about the concerns of the racetrack. I can tell you personally, I will not support any housing, residential or commercial on that location. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just take some really quick just for some clarification there. Again, the city is really engaged with Washington Prime in ensuring that we provide Class A businesses at the Bowie Town Center, right? They've also just went through a recent management change, and so the new young African-American woman who's in charge now understands that if there's going to be a vacancy, they're fine with that as long as we are able to get the right partners within the community. So I'm confident that the Washington Prime Group is in a new space. That they are going to be willing to work with us, that we are going to be really engaged with this. I know the mayor wants to do a task force on Bowie Town Center and some of our existing shopping centers, so we're really engaged on this issue. We're going to get it done, and I'm convinced that, especially with Party HQ coming in the next couple of months, that will start to be the change of what happens next.
Good evening. My name is Precious Middleton. I currently reside in the Beta House on Long Ridge Lane. But I commute by Metro into Southeast DC to go to work. I have a 10th grader at Bowie High School, and some things that are concerning for me is, one, the street lights on Colleton Road. Because I'm Metro in, I may have a late evening and may get off of work about around 6 and it's dark. And coming from the Metro on Long Ridge Lane, there isn't much light. And if I miss my stop, then the next stop is at Tulip Grove, which is about a 2-mile walk in the dark. So the concern is the streetlights on Colleton Road and also going into my neighborhood, which is on Long Ridge Lane. And then also, my second concern is just the Metro stop. So there is a Metro stop that is on Long Ridge Lane. But like I said before, if I miss the stop, the next stop is not into Tulip Grove. And so walking backwards with no streetlights is a major concern for both me and my daughter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Diane Pisano. I've been in Bowie for a long time, and I live in the I section. I saw a recent article in the Washington Post that says that Prince George's County has been tested water-wise as being contaminated, and that I had gotten notices from the city of Bowie saying that our water supply is very clean, but according to the Washington Post, the entire county is not. And I don't know if Bowie has investigated that at all.
Thank you.
City Manager, do you want to answer that question? That seems like a severe one.
Well, gosh, considering I'm here to listen, I'd rather not, but I'll do it. We're talking about two separate water systems. Our system, the city of Bowie maintains its own water system, and WSSC handles the rest of the county. Those comments were related to the WSSC water system and no relation to us. We test our water system, we test our water. There are no issues with it. We exceed the standards set, and they weren't talking about the city of Bowie. I beg your pardon?
Was the water north of 50 pesticide? That's what the Bowie, that's what the Post article was about. Fluoro, the stuff that was used to make health.
The question is whether the Bowie water, the water system was tested for a specific chemical. I did.
PFLAC.
Or PFLAC, is that what you said? PFAS. I did look at the report to see if Bowie was mentioned specifically, and it was not. I can't answer whether or not Bowie.
Well, we meet all the federal requirements. And we responded to that article, I think, with some press releases, did we not? And so that just wasn't talking about us. That was talking about what WSAC, if the article was accurate at all. But it wasn't our situation. It wasn't our water system.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessie Royster, and I'm a long-term resident here in Bowie. I just have a few issues. Number one, I just want to say that I'm very proud of the city, and I love the city of Bowie. And as I've mentioned before, the city of Bowie has been voted as one of the best places to live, but I think that has a lot to do with us staying on top of things. And so, welcome, Mayor. Just want to say welcome to you. And but one of the things I also want to say is about the town center. I have written letters to them. I wrote letters to them last year. I even volunteered to help them or assist them with anything they needed. I advised them to close down the food court because that was just ridiculous. All the businesses in there, the really reputable businesses in there were closing. And so they just had a few pretzel places and had that really nice food court. And I'm like, why don't y'all do something else with that? And so I was glad to see they did change it. The other thing is the entry, the stop signs. I think that there's a concern coming into that town center because like when you go up to Crofton and different places, they'll tell you that you have to yield to incoming traffic. And I mentioned to the guy who manages the town center that why don't you put, our signs are about like that, but theirs are much bigger. And so you have to say to people, because people seem like when they get at the four-way stops right there by the Panera Bread and different places, they don't know who's supposed to go. So I think that that needs to be addressed. And I just think I'm in accordance with you about how things have changed, those stores. And even though I hear you say, young man, that you know that it's a privately owned property, but you have privately owned properties in every area in the United States. And yet the people in that community have a say-so. So you can't just do anything you want to do in somebody's city or in the town. And so one of the things that I've spoken to the people who manage it, I said, I don't understand it because the demographics, I studied the demographics in Bowie. The demographics is just like this young man said, that it's highly educated,
high income,
and high incomes. So now if you have high incomes and you're highly educated and you look at the demographics, then you say, well, what is the problem? I mean, it's just, it's beyond me. I don't understand it. And so I'm really glad that that's being addressed because I think you guys who manage the city do have a say-so. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is what somebody else brought up about the lighting. And I've always been told that lighting is your first area of defense. And so when it's dark in a place, then anybody can be doing anything. And so when you call, and one of the things I will say, now we really do, I have to say that we do have a good public works department. They do answer the calls, I appreciate that, and they do work on your calls, I appreciate that. But one of the things that they say is about the pole lights, is they say it takes 2 to 5 days to get to them. Now, that's one thing, and they said because it's managed or operated by a private contractor. So I just don't understand. So you're just like, all the lights are out and you're got to wait 2 to 5 days, and then they said that if there's something with the cabling or with Comcast or something, then it might be even longer. So I don't understand that, because one thing about the city of Bowie, they will get on you. When you don't do things with the snow removal, they will send you a letter. When you have your shutter hanging down, they will send you a letter. I don't have a problem with that. That's good. If you got something going on in your driveway, they will send you a letter. So I appreciate that, but I also want the city of Bowie to be on task with those type of things. And then there's other things like, I think at Notting Hill Drive and Mount Oak, that's an area that is a high, it needs some type, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but it needs some type of light or something, because you can't get out of there. So there's a lot of risk-taking trying to merge onto Mount Oak Drive. That's kind of dangerous. So I don't know how you get the blinking lights, where you get the blinking red or the blinking yellow. I don't know how that works. But I just tell you, you can tell a lot about a city by, and we don't, by the way, I live in Glen Allen, and we have low crime. It's a low crime area, based, because I watch the crime reports. So if you have a low crime area, and Bowie for the most part is a low crime city. So if you low crime, you're highly educated, and you make all this money, we should be up here. We shouldn't be losing anything to Annapolis, to Crofton, to any other place. So I'm welcoming you guys. I'm saying I'm here. I will work. I will volunteer. I even pick up trash on different times when I have a chance, because I don't mind. I talk to the people at Safeway. I talk to the people at Giant, and even the Giant store has come down. So that's even just something totally different. But I just don't. We have to get on it now. Not 5 years from now, right now, while it's still a beaming city. And I'm just very proud of this city, and I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Royster. I'm going to take a little break and read a few texts, because they're rolling in. This one says, I'm concerned with the additional conversation regarding Bowie and the maglev train. Can you provide a status and address how Bowie residents will be kept updated?
Yeah, can I? Yeah, the maglev train is dead. And the reason why it's dead is because it looks like the General Assembly is going to pass 2 legislations, but primarily the first one's going to say that no state funding will go to it. That business is already in a bankrupt state. They can't afford it. They can't get state funding. It can't happen. Also, some of the proposed routes, some of the municipalities have already done and taken steps to make sure that they can't happen. So it's effectively dead. It'll be really dead in April once the General Assembly makes that bill a thing. But as long as there's no state funding going to it, as long as the new Speaker and the Senate President approve that bill going through, we'll be fine. So maglev is effectively dead.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update. Here's another one. Bowie residents' money should not be paying for an ice rink for the rest of the state to use. Stop the bleeding on the ice rink. Then Bowie's well is mixed with WSSC now because of all the overdevelopment that has taken place, correct? I think that is not true, because Bowie water comes from deep wells that have seeped into the ground over several hundred of years, and I'm fairly certain that most of WSSC water comes from its surface water.
Correct.
From the rivers, so I think there is no mixture there. One last one, and then I promise I'll let you speak. What can we do as Bowie residents to support the settlement of the HBCU lawsuit?
Yes.
And what is the lawsuit really about? And what's planned next for the HBC lawsuit? Will there be legislation introduced in the General Assembly?
I want to take that one. Thank you. This is a really important one to me, and not because I went to HBCU, because I didn't actually. I actually went to the University of Baltimore. It's one of the universities that is actually implicit of duplication of programs for the university system that affects Morgan State, Coppin State, Bowie State, and UMES as well. So one of the first things we did when we got in 2020 was voted on something called the HBCU resolution concerning the settlement, saying that the governor and the legislature should figure out a solution to provide $577 million, which is the settlement cost for this lawsuit. And it's important for me, especially in this role on the council, because as you guys know, we don't have that much say in education. It's a county thing. But as I said before, the largest municipality needs to start using its voice. And this is our opportunity to say, hey, we have this settlement, we have HBCUs, an HBCU, a great HBCU in our backyard, and we want to make sure that they're equally funded. Because as you guys know, if those schools rise, if Bowie State is able to be as successful and have the state dollars that it needs, this economy in this area is going to expand in ways you've never seen. And so I'm really passionate about this issue. I also spoke in Baltimore about this issue with Mayor Young, and so we're really engaged. The next steps are this. The General Assembly and the Speaker have a plan to roll out a couple of programs. We'll see if the governor supports them. I think it's program legislation is what it sounds like, but we don't know, and we'll wait for her to roll that out in a couple of weeks. Additionally, there's a group called the Save MD HBCUs, and there are 2 members actually here in the audience who I encourage. You guys want to stand up really quick? Sorry to put you guys on the spot. 3 members, sorry. These women have been taking this issue into their hand and travel across the state doing town halls. We will be doing one at Bowie State at some point in 2020 in the spring. This is an important issue. It doesn't seem like the governor is going to settle it. It doesn't seem like the legislature at this time has the ability, with Kerwin coming up, to do anything for it. So we got to stay engaged to make sure that we can get these program bills and anything else that the speaker is really going to do to support our HBCUs. So again, as you guys know, we want the town center to be fixed as well, and I'm with you on that. But if our education and our higher education institution is able to perform at a maximum level, we're going to be able to do some great things in this city and this county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now.
My name is Carla Bradford Bay, and I reside on Patriot Lane. And I have a couple of items that I would like to just kind of discuss. I've been in the area about 10 years now, and I've noticed over the past 3 to 4 years increase in damage to our guardrails, all the litter off of 301 and around the area, and it's coming because we have an influx of people moving into our area. Either we have to look at ways of either to prevent some of that, either put up more signage where there are fines and penalties when it comes to litter and trash, because I see people just throwing them out the car windows. We're seeing more, speeders in the area, people running red lights, because we don't have the precautions put in place, and understanding that our police department is doing what they can, but I see them recruiting constantly and looking for more people to join their force. But there's other things that we can do as a community to kind of stop and prevent some of these things, because it becomes dangerous to not only ourselves but to our children and the people in our communities. Either put up more stoplights, red lights. I mean, DC is making billions and millions of dollars off their ticket program. Yeah. We need to find ways to use the revenue for those who are coming into our communities and causing damage and bringing crime and things of that particular nature, and defacing our beautiful communities. I moved to Bowie because of the beauty and because of the open areas, and I would hate to see that tarnished because we're not taking steps to prevent it from continuing. The other one is basically the new development that's going on up on 301 just past, I think it's called the Collington area. They're going to be building a lot of, what's it called? Thank you.
South Lake, yeah.
So we're talking about Bowie Town Center, but what's getting ready to happen with that area? Because again, you're not doing anything with the roads. You already have a high level of traffic both directions. So what are we going to do in regards and to deal with the heavy traffic situation? Because what we build. And have we even thought about what's really going to be placed there? You want to change what we have at Bowie Town Center to increase the quality. What kind of quality are you bringing in this new area?
Thank you. Thank you.
If I could, just 1 minute, welcome Council Member from District 2, Dufour Wolfley.
And we have the Honorable Todd Turner who's joined us as well.
County Council Chair Todd Turner, former Bowie Council member, is here as well. Thank you, Todd, for coming.
Hey.
And now, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Turner, and I am not a resident of Bowie City, but I am a lifelong resident of Prince George's County, the state of Maryland, and I have been an employee of Bowie State University for 20 years. So I count myself
you're part of it, yeah.
Driving the roads, eating in the restaurants, and just appreciating the city as I do all parts of my state. I just want to speak briefly with regard to the racetrack road issue. And also really to support the idea that we have to support Bowie State University. It is the oldest HBCU in our state. And the first. And so it's really important that if we want to invest in seeing the impact of education within our state, within our county, that we allow the institution to grow. And that means moving out of the confines of the 300 acres that we're on, that we exist on right now. The city of Bowie, according to the website, has more than 1,100 acres of set aside for parks and preserved open space currently. We only live at Bowie State University on 300 acres. The 80 acres that the owners are interested in gifting to our institution would be an amazing opportunity for our institution to partner with the city and to support the community, but also to expand as a center and a seat of higher education in Prince George's County. So while I know that there are concerns about traffic, because I do drive Racetrack Road, my grandfather owned horses that were housed at the racetrack there, so I'm familiar in a personal way with the property. I think we have a lot of opportunity to see even our HBCU educational offerings expand into equestrian care and husbandry of animals. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity, but if we could see the value in allowing this institution to grow and to be gifted, which does not happen often within our communities all the time, that our county can grow. And I know that the city of Bowie will have a greater resource and a greater partner in our institution. So thank you all for just considering. We can work out traffic issues, we can plan around those things, and we don't intend to put any residence halls on that road either. And I know that that's a commitment from our institution and from our president, and that is something that I'm certain that we can commit to for the long term and not just 10 years and then we change our minds. So this can be a great partnership, but I would like the city and the residents to really think about the impact of allowing this institution to expand its ownership and presence within the county. Thank you.
I'm going to read a couple more of the texts that have come in. The Green Team and the EAC are the most active, and with climate change being the #1 issue of the day, the most important committees in the city. Are they being consulted with in the matter regarding the racetrack property? The next one is, what do we need to do to get a left and a right turn light at Mitchellville Road and Excalibur Road? Too many people have died there over the past few years.
Can I talk about that really quick?
Sure.
So again, it's in District 3, and I've heard this a lot of times. So we've put in a request through, I hate to put you on the spot, through the county councilman's office, and I think the county is now going through an evaluation of figuring out how we're going to handle that. So if you're not on my email list, please see me after, and I'll give you my card and email me, and I'm going to keep you updated on this thing, on a bunch of things. But this is an issue that we have, we're getting solved right now.
Okay, one more here. Hi. With the new developments coming, is there talk on building a new junior and senior high school to accommodate the influx of students? Not yet. Okay. Would you like to go ahead?
Hi, my name is Josephine Brown, and I live right behind City Hall. I'm sure I'm in your district.
Yes.
On Everest Drive. I am the only house on Everest Drive. I'm on the corner. As soon as you pass the KinderCare, that I'm right on that corner. As you go down. Yes, that's me. Now, as you go down the street, there's nothing else. It belongs to the city. There's some walking paths through there. and I walk my dog twice a day. And I take a trash bag with me twice a day, picking up trash. The guys at the city are great. They clean up and they say, ma'am, please don't do that. But I can't walk by that trash every day. And I feel like the lady that talked earlier, like I want to put my personal sign up. You're going to be fined $300 if you don't stop throwing the beer bottles in the trash. I mean, people actually throw trash out of their cars there. And I think it's disrespectful. I just don't like it because it's my street. This is my town. I love Bowie. I'm transplanted from Annapolis. I born in Annapolis all my life. I've been here 12 years, but I absolutely love Bowie because it's reflective of me. And that's what I found when I first came to PG County. There were people like me, and I loved it. And I like it here, but I just need some help on that street. What we could also use is a pet station, because people will park their cars and walk their dogs because it's a peaceful street to walk on. But we need them picking up the poop, you know? So a pet station would be great. I don't know whether a stationary trash can would help, because people that throw trash on the ground want to throw it on the ground. I don't know whether that would help, but I would really, you know, advocate for a pet station. That would be wonderful. Also the lighting, they spoke about that earlier. And I have reported the lights at one time. We had 3 lights out. It was so dark down there. I don't take that walk in the evening because it is dark down there. I stay on Mitchellville, either end. But a few years ago, and I hate to put a damp on this whole meeting, about 3 years ago, they found a body down there. And I woke up and I'm walking the dog and I see all of these police, and I want to know what's going on. So they told me, and I kind of stayed up on the progress of that investigation. And I was told that the murder probably didn't happen there. They dropped it because it was a dark area, a dark street. And they found out it was somewhere over in Hydesville or somewhere else, but they dropped the body there. But if we could have a little bit more light there, it might deter some things like that. Had a couple more things. Also, maybe I just don't know the rules. My son drives an 18-wheeler. He owns an 18-wheeler. I see him maybe once a month, sometimes once every 2 months. I've received a couple of tickets, or he has, because when I didn't know that there was a law, and I still don't see where it's written that he can't park in my driveway. My driveway is about 100 feet long. You got to be looking to see it, you know. It's a 2-car garage on the side. And he's parked up there, and we've gotten a couple $100 tickets, which I don't understand why, because I'm not in the HOA. I don't know why he can't park there. I need to know why. And even on that street, like I said, there's nobody else. When he parks on the street, he gets a ticket. So what happens is we have to go to a trucking place, and he has to park and catch an Uber back to the house and all of that. And, you know, so, you know, if there's a written rule or something where he can't park there, I'd like to know that. I'd like to know that, you know. He's my last son. I'm a senior citizen. I'm home alone, and I'd like to see my son without him costing him an arm and a leg to visit me.
But there are rules, and I think on it's commercial vehicles can't be parked, and I can try to remember where we have that online.
On all city streets.
Yeah.
On what?
But that definitely is. We'll touch base with you.
Okay.
But definitely there are issues.
Even in the driveway, wouldn't that be my driveway or
Even in
no?
your driveway.
That's just to help you out.
Excuse me?
It's in the city codes that prohibits those large vehicles in the neighborhood and park either on your property or on the street. And I believe there's a county code also that prohibits that. It's just against the law. The code's right there. That's why they were issued the tickets. Most likely, one of your neighbors reported it.
I don't have anything.
Somebody did. Somebody, you see, we only
Well, I
have,
do have a lot of police activity.
Well-
You know, they do check my area.
well, we
I don't
only have
any
eight,
problem.
we only have 8.5 code enforcement officers for 18,000 houses. So the way we find out in most cases, somebody reports a violation.
Okay.
That's primarily how it happens, because we don't have enough people patrol, 132 miles of streets. But it's against the rules. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I know this, I just have to put this out there, is that I just received my tax assessment, and of course, my value of my property has gone up along with everybody else, but that makes my tax go up, and I am on a fixed income, and my taxes are high enough as it is. My family wants to know, why are you staying in Bowie? I'm here, and this is what my taxes. I love Bowie. I love my house. I love the location. I don't want to move. but I don't want to be forced out because of taxes either. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And if you, please make sure that we have your contact information so we can specifically answer your question about the code. Welcome.
Hi, welcome, Mayor. It's good to see you. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I am a 21-year resident of Bowie. I am a single mother, a struggling single mother, and I was actually orphaned in New York City. My grandparents raised me. I love Bowie because I don't call it a city. I call it a town. And when I look at what Bowie represents in the past and present, I wonder, we have this horse and a good luck Irish horseshoe. That's how I see them. And we have this amazing decision point. We're at a pivot point. Okay, if we were in Taekwondo right now, we'd get into position. If we were in yoga, we would get in position. I've taken both. Now, the pivot point I see is that Bowie is known as the birthplace of horse racing. Why don't we become the salvation place of horses and get ourselves internationally known, recognized, and not embarrassed? Right now, Bowie is on the World Health Organization's watch list for cell phone tower violations for children. 3 cell phone towers in proximity of schools is the new upcoming threat assessment level for cell phone towers. Today I took the bus here. I met 2 kids from Bowie High School. They told me there were 2 fights there today. That is a report from today, and that the school went on lockdown. If you happen to look at my cell phone today, I took a picture of the volunteer firefighter house with 3 crossbars on it. These are not Jesus crosses, these are brackets that hold up cell phone masts. Why is this important? Because I have an environmental science degree and also a water quality degree. That's not important. It's important that we have recognized health indicators in every community. If we were walking in a forest, we'd say lichen has a symbiotic relationship with certain trees. If we see threat levels in our community, then people who are aware and awake will know where they are and know what they represent and know where the indicators are. We have 2 cell phone towers at Tasker, but it's interesting. They are walking cell phone towers. Why? Because they have a variance. One can be under OMB as a educational component, and the other is on parkland. That is the variance. That is why our land use issues in Bowie are so relative to a stealth attack that I see that others may not agree or think is a conspiracy theory. But my point is this. Bowie has some land. Bowie has a lot of people looking at that land. Banks are looking at that land. I've walked the lands on Temptation Farm. I've picked the pecans on Temptation Farm, and I've given them as Christmas presents. That is a fact. My kids rode at Temptation Farm, and my daughter got a lot of scholarships for riding. It is vitally important that we make this land a really great blessing. And the way I see doing that, as it pertains to the portion of the racetrack, is to make it a equine saving area or do 4-H that can help multiple stake owners. I just went to the Pennsylvania 4-H, or it was really the Pennsylvania Farm Show, and I saw an incredible array of groups working together using agrarian land in an effective way. The fact of the matter is that we have horses being destroyed because there isn't enough land. That's always been the case. That land should be put back into use to help the equine industries that are up and down the eastern seaboard that need a veterinary care place and an institution that can teach that. So that would be a good decision point. My next point regarding the water, I have looked at the water quality reports. I want to know what the 48 residual chlorine test is. If council could get that put into the recognized protocol for looking at that. Saying it meets EPA standards is a common way of saying it meets EPA standards, but it's not being specific, and that is not a robust statistic. I'd appreciate more robust statistics from the council. As it pertains to Temptation Farm, that portion of land that the pecan trees are should not be touched. There was an actual slave house. It has been referenced. It has a historical component, that educational components of land use should be utilized for an agrarian modality of education. I really think that would be a better usage for all the schools in the tri-state area of the DMV to have a docent go around and explaining what gleaning on the land is. It's a biblical reference.
Ask you to start wrapping up.
Okay, so I'm thinking Temptation Farm should be preserved. That's my vote. I think that the turn, I taught a driver how to turn. There's a blind turn there, as the traffic study has indicated. There's a problem with that portion, and there's also a wetlands combination that's a problem with getting to that land use. As it pertains to the cell phone towers, you have 2 at Tasker, and that does not look good for the city of Bowie because the kids are taking on the risk, but the money is going into the general fund. And that is not fair to a cancer assessment for the students of Bowie. So that is something that needs to be recognized as a stealth problem in Bowie. The next and last point I'd like to humbly make is when you talk about the fire station and also the building that if you are approaching, as you make the left by the Bowie topiary, there is a building with several masts across the street from the Bowie Town Center. That is a building, I don't know who leases it, but again, these are risks that a population of people are taking on while others are making money. And since everyone knows a lawyer, maybe we should get a bunch of our friends together and have a nice big lawsuit to get a nice pot of money so that we could then not have to go begging around and carrying on with Upper Marlboro for land use issues.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm LaShawn Quander Mosley. I'm a resident in Saddlebrook West, so right next to the old racetrack. So very interested in the conversation along the usage of that property. I am, as we were just introduced by Councilman Boafo, a Maryland HBCU advocate. So there's sort of overlapping interest in the use of the old racetrack. And so just wanted to bring one point of clarification regarding the lawsuit, and that is that the state has been found liable of duplicating programs that are on the campuses of the 4 Maryland HBCUs, Bowie State included. And so as a remedy, which is still being discussed and negotiated, each university is to identify a unique niche or unique programs to replace the programs that were once housed on those campuses. And so I think this would be a great opportunity, maybe even considering one of the suggestions of the woman before me, of identifying a way to use the green space of the racetrack and have that be an extension of sort of a living laboratory or an extension of an environmental science program at Bowie State, but working together, city and university together, to come up with a great way of leveraging the qualities. And I've heard so much from the Audubon Society about the uniqueness of this property and the value it has, but all lending that to the university so that those students can benefit from this resource that we have here, and at the same time help to settle this lawsuit. So I just wanted to come up and bring that point of clarification, but also that possible opportunity to work together. Thank you. And we do encourage your support of the settlement of this lawsuit. And if I could, please, really quickly, I want to thank the council and mayor for passing the resolution in support of that lawsuit. That means you're standing with us. You think it's important that we settle this once and for all, and I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quander.
Okay. Just, again, the racetrack is such a big issue. There's so many moving parts to it. Just for everyone's awareness, again, with our meeting with Dr. Bro, but the council also discussed this, came out of the first listening session that we had. I guess it was more like a town hall at Ken Hill regarding this issue. We have decided, or Bowie State has put out a one-pager, and essentially the 2 programs that they're really focused on that land is their sports management program, expanding that, also expanding their ROTC program. They're getting $1 million from the state annually to do something there. And the 3rd program that we're thinking that we can work with them on is their natural sciences program. If you haven't seen, the new natural sciences building is a $140 million building on the campus. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and so we're going to be trying to support their programs through this acquisition of the land.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to just read, I know you're going to stand in there, just bear with me. I want to read a few of these before we start wrapping up here. This one says, I am against new development until we make use of the old development. How will old buildings be used instead of new construction? Next person says, there needs to be either traffic calming speed bumps and/or speed cameras near the developments south of the bridge or freeway, airport, and Church Road, between Woodmore Road and Mount Road intersections and the bridge. It's the Church Road Speedway, Freeway, Expressway, exclamation point, help. We can't get out of our development on a Church Road without risking our lives for the speed. Thank you.
Yeah, Ron.
And then another one, please place do not litter signs along Church Road, along 3100 area of Church Road near Woodmore Highlands. We're always picking up trash thrown out of cars on our property on the Church Road. And Bowie used to be so beautiful. Why is there so much trash littering the roads? Vehicles parked on the grass? What's going on? Bowie needs a massive beautification program. A nice tax incentive for homeowners would help. And I'll read one more and then stop for a minute. Bowie State University will help the city of Bowie be comparable to the University of Maryland College Park. We should support BSU receiving the land. And now, sir, thank you for waiting.
My name is Victor Udechukwu. I live in Harness Way, just behind the racetrack. My wife encouraged me to come down here tonight. We had a 10-month-old daughter, and she said, go to the listening session. I said, I want to spend time with the baby. She said, well, if you think about what the baby will be in 20 years, you need to go to the listening session tonight. I hopped into the car and came down here. The WB&A trail behind the racetrack has a playground that's unfinished. Has anybody been there before? Has anybody seen the playground? Yeah. Is it finished? Is it finished or not?
No.
It's not finished.
There's like a BMX track looking development thing.
Yeah, some kind of development that's been stopped for, I'm not sure how many years ago it stopped. So maybe that's what the new team could take on and formally, ceremoniously open by the mayor at some point. I think the community will be very happy if that can be done at some point. And then the second thing is the Bowie branch library right here. Do we have anybody from high school here tonight? Any high school person here tonight? We used to go to the library and still go. One day we were there, we saw a law enforcement officer. And I asked, what's going on? Well, they have to be there because sometimes the kids get into some kind of scuffles. Right here in the library. Never in my time had I been into the library and I see a law enforcement agent officer trying to keep peace among students or kids or high school or teenagers in a library. So we are here debating for the future of the city, and we have a library where kids fight or high school students mill around or try to get themselves busy, but they cannot and they could not, and they don't have any way to help themselves being busy. What do we do? Couple of suggestions that need to be done ASAP. Number one, you could ask for volunteers. There are some professors here, there are some teachers, there are some professionals. You say Bowie has all the high capacity educated people. Invite them into the library to take on any after-school program they like. Number two, NASA, somebody works at Goddard, or somebody here is in NASA, somebody knows. Bringing NASA here to install a simulation center at the library. The kids will come in and they will get wild. Bringing Boeing to install flight simulation center in the library. The kids won't have any time to fight. Bringing Raytheon to install radar simulation center. Bringing the U.S. Army to install recruit center inside the library. There'll be no fight. You could go on and on what can be done immediately for the kids who are our future, who fight, and law enforcement is there trying to keep them from fighting. Three and the last, the racetrack, everybody says, well, we don't want development, we don't want this, we don't want that. Could you imagine if you're a landowner, you have an empty plot, and you're paying tax on that land? You are paying tax on your land. So I think it's for us to determine and search our conscience on what can be done there and give many people opportunity to make recommendations on what can be done. Because whatever is done there is going to impact the community for years to come. We have the U.S. Army right there. It could be a capability center. It could be a training ground. It could be a munition center. It could be anything. We have NFL. It could be a practice center. It could be anything. So that's my point. And I thank you all for listening. And thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. I'm not sure this is the right venue. This is something for the Bowie Chamber of Commerce. Maybe it was serendipitous that it happened, but our washing machine broke. And I had the unfortunate experience of finding a laundromat in Bowie. And I'm referring to Star Dry Cleaners on Laurel Bowie Road. It's a dry cleaner, and they own a laundromat. And it's next, I'm not sure what the name of that shopping center is, but it's next to the CVS. I happen to, I guess maybe perhaps fortunately, and I feel like I'm a spokesperson for the people who need to use that laundromat all the time. I just had to use it once, and we've got a new washing machine. However, I could not believe the plight of the people who have to use that laundromat. The place, I even just recently, while I was sitting here, looked on Yelp, and I can't believe just what everyone even has to say. The place was nasty, filthy, dirty. Most of the washers and dryers had signs that they were out of order. The people who use that laundromat tell me that the washers and dryers are always out of order. You can push hot water, but no hot water comes out. The people told me that for the last year or so, the owner keeps saying that the plumber's going to fix it. Well, you know, I think there's some plumbers around competent that could fix the problem. They explained how the owners are arrogant. While I was there, one of the washing machines over-flooded and sudsed. The woman came to wipe the floor down with a mop, and so help me God, I think in the last decade or so, that's the only time that floor got washed. It has missing tiles. The ceiling has all these brown spots. I mean, I think it's just a disgrace for a business like this to be in Bowie. And again, I speak for all those who have to use that laundromat all the time. The place is really a hellhole.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read a few more texts. This one says, can we have lights on the trail for some of us that like to run or exercise outside? Also, we do not need any more Chinese foods, Domino pizza. Please don't just give us talking points and words without actions. We will appreciate your efforts to make this place better than Montgomery and the Annapolis areas. Next one says, following up on the discussion regarding repurposing of business space, I would like to see a more aggressive pursuit of businesses in the technology sector to attract more 21st century jobs and tax revenue. Another one is, what is the plan to utilize unoccupied commercial zone buildings? And finally, this time, there's still more, we are unable to get across the street coming from Long Ridge to catch the city bus traffic, refuses to slow down to allow pedestrians to cross. Please address. And I'll stop there for now. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Sandra Hamorsky, and I live in the Excalibur section. I want to thank Mayor Adams and the members of the council for being here and holding this listening session. This year marks 20 years for me here in Bowie. I'm a native of Prince George's County, and I left to go to graduate school, and when I came back to Prince George's County. I work in the tech sector, so all of my jobs are in Arlington and Reston and Tysons, and everyone says to me, what are you thinking living in Bowie? And I said, love, this is a wonderful place. And for 20 years, it's still a wonderful place. However, what I'd like you all to address after listening to all of the sort of the umbrella issue that I'm hearing everybody talking about is the fact that Bowie has zero control of our own development. You all mostly ran on a, controlled development kind of platform, but at the end of the day, you can recommend to the county council, and with respect to Todd Turner, who's here, and we appreciate you, the Prince George's County Council in its role as zoning board doesn't seem to has yet to meet a development plan it doesn't like, particularly if it's here. So what I'd like to know, and then to be perfectly honest, the issue I think has been that for 20 years what I've watched is a really bad relationship between the council and the mayor and the county. What I'd like you to see, and I know this is not the particular time, but what I'd like to see addressed in the future is what plans you have to do something to improve relations so that our opinion weighs a little more heavily with the county when they're taking these votes. Thank you.
Just really quick, I think you hit that out of the park. You're right. I mean, the reality is that we don't have zoning power. The reality is that a former council and coming in as a new council, a lot of the things that we were talking about are past the entitlement phase, which means that we're just voting on what color do you want the curtains to be in this room, right? We're not really voting on the development of the land. We do have new projects coming down, and we're going to be able to do that. But you're right. The reality is that if we don't have a relationship with the county, but with park and planning and Ms. Hewitt and her folks over there, none of this is going to get done. And so I know it's a priority for the mayor, it's a priority for myself to make sure that our members of this council have a good relationship with park and planning, have a good relationship with the board to be able to say, when we say no, again, as the largest municipality in Prince George's County, we mean no. The end.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Jones. I live in the Northridge section of Bowie. I am a native of Prince George's County, and I've been living in Bowie for the last 21 years. Couple things. At the corner of Hillmead and Prospect Hill Road and Fletchertown, where that meets, that intersection right there is a pretty dangerous intersection, and let me tell you why. It's hard to come to that intersection because the line is so far back you can't see to turn left because there's a boulder there, and the house, the way it's positioned, is really difficult making turns there. So if we could move that line up where it used to be before we did some pavements to the road, some additions to the road, that would make it much better when you're trying, especially during rush hour, it would make it much better. The second thing, on Fletchertown Road, it's really dark. At nighttime, that lighting coming through there, it's a lot of deer that dart out. It's a lot of wildlife that dart out through that intersection, so I would like to see it more lit up. There's parts of Prospect and Fletchertown right around the hill part where the lake is, where it is lit up, but once you start going down and around that curve, it's really dark through there, and it's a pretty dangerous stretch where I see people dropping off beds and all kinds of things when they think nobody is watching, and littering and making where I live just deplorable. So if we could bring some lighting to that area, that would be great. The third thing I want to say is this. I am in full support of Bowie State University receiving the land. I know that Dr. Bro, I work for Bowie State University, and the reason why I decided to work for Bowie State, because it was 5 minutes up the street from my house, and I was tired of all the traffic going into town, and I know that the mayor has a long-term relationship with the school, and I would definitely want to just echo, I would like to see that partnership to continue to grow with the university. The university is doing a lot of programs that I heard echo tonight with development with athletic. They would like to develop athletic and recreational use for that land, but they also want to partner with the community like we've been doing and getting the community more involved with things that like we're doing, reopening our aquatic center, and we want the residents of Bowie to be able to use that center as well, and we are looking at other opportunities to be able to partner that we have support from the state that that will be able to do these programs. And I know that if we could just sit down with the team, the council members, and definitely work on how we can make these relationships grow. We would love to see that letter rescinded so that Bowie State could have full support to be able to bring these programs to fruition without bringing more taxpayer, because I'm paying taxes here as well, on us with that hardship not coming to us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Up for just a second to read some more of these. Question is, if Bowie manages its own water, why do I get a bill from WSSC? I live off Northview Road and Ensley Lane. So the Bowie water system serves about 7,800 customers in primarily the Levitt sections of Bowie. Levitt actually built the water system. There's more information about it on our website, but it's the neighborhoods directly north of 450 and directly south of 450. Heather Hills is also served by City of Bowie Water, and the rest of the city is served by WSSC. Can we have lights on the trail for some of us? Oh, that's a duplicate. We're focused on higher institutions, but forgetting to nurture the young that will attend the school. What are we doing about it? Hello, Mayor Adams and Council. My name is Sheila Cruz. I live in the Pin Oak Village Senior Apartments. Are there any plans in the future for affordable senior apartments for those of us on fixed incomes in Bowie? Bowie State University will help the city of Bowie be comparable to, that's a duplicate as well, sorry about that. I totally support gifting the racetrack property to Bowie State University, the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland. It would be great for the city to support this gifting as well. That's Shirley Holt. By the way, I've worked at Bowie State for 48 years, and I'm a longtime resident in Bowie. Thank you for the listening session. I learned a lot, although I did not speak. Some of my concerns were voiced by others. I have to leave now, but we'll plan to be more active. Thank you. Bowie resident since 1997. Racetrack land usage. What about garden usage in the area? And then after the listening sessions, what will happen? Will low-hanging fruits get addressed quickly? How will you address the compilation of things mentioned? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, okay.
Well, we are recording everybody's comments from this listening session, the last one, and the two that are coming. And we are assigning the task based on the mission, if it's for Public Works or police department. Everybody's taking notes here. We have 4 or 5 people taking notes. And this department will incorporate the actions that we can take without some additional legislation or additional money. We're going to do that before the end of the year, before the end of the fiscal year. And that's my assignment to them. Now, there are some issues regarding interagency relationships that the City Council has to address, but that'll be all documented, and then we'll send out that report, that record of this thing, out to all my staff guys and to City Council, so everybody will know exactly what their assignments are and they can take the appropriate action.
A couple more here. What are the plans for recruiting more business employees into Bowie? What are the plans for more walking spaces? What is the plan for reuse of the current ice rink and also Sears? What is the status of the master plan for development in Bowie as we compete with rapid development in Crofton? And that's by Yvonne Kinney. Would it be possible to only allow Bowie residents to send their children to city schools and not have children from outside the area here? These outside students are the ones taking up space and starting the trouble. Safeway has too many panhandlers and they're jeopardizing the business in the area. Also, the Safeway store is not clean. These are the water sprayers for the produce taken today. We did not get a picture with that. If you intended to text that to us, we did not get that. You can email it to publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. Almost done, Millie, sorry. Bowie track usage. What about garden in the area? Following up on the conditions of the laundromat next to CVS. The Dollar General is in the same location as Experience. And I've seen multiple times people stealing out of the store, and to be honest, I'm not sure the store employees are reporting it. If this continues, It sets a dangerous precedent. And finally, can we install a no turn on red at the exit from Route 50 East to 197 South? Some drivers do not stop at the exit before proceeding onto 197 South. Thank you for everyone who submitted text. And now, Ms. Hall, you have the floor.
Hi, my name is Millie Hall, and mostly everyone has covered what I really wanted to say. But the second thing I would like to say, I would like to thank the council for supporting us on the last proposal that the Board of Election made to move our voting space from the Bowie Gym. Thank you guys very much for supporting us. And my next comment I would like to make is my community just had squatters. And I would like to thank the police department for acting on it so quickly and code enforcement. But my biggest concern now is they have to board up the property, which would bring down our property value. I know everyone is going to say it's not my place, the county might say it's not theirs, but could someone please look into something to stop these people from just coming into our community, moving into an empty home, and just taking over. So even though they got them out, to board it up is ridiculous. But they're stating, I'm thinking they're saying, we're going to board it up so they don't come back. If they come back, maybe we might not come back to get them out, but is that fair to us? Boarding up a property is going to bring down our property value, and we would like for you guys to try to figure something out for us, because this is not the first time it's happened, it's not the second time it's happened, it's actually the third time. But I would like to thank the council for what they're doing. I've been telling everybody, I think you guys are great to work with. You've been working with us, and we appreciate that. And I would like to thank the police department, too. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Thank you.
But they didn't board it up yet. It's Whitmore Highlands. And the litter. Everybody covered the litter, but it's going really wild right there on Church Road. And I can kind of understand why someone is just driving through the neighborhood looking for empty homes, because it's trash all the way up and down Church Road. Someone just recently threw out a mattress. Took like 20 of us to call, and they like took their time. I called the county, and they finally picked it up. But when I spoke with Mr. Turner, which is here today, Councilor Turner, he texted back and said, would you guys like to be part of the spring cleanup, which is fine. We won't mind being part of the spring cleanup, but this is happening every day, literally. So maybe we should get one of those cameras they talked about, that also Brooke talked about. That's what we asked about. He said his people would get back with me. No one has called me back yet, but could someone please help us? Because it's getting really bad. Thank you.
Ms. Hall, I want to say I agree with you. And many of the residents, I've been taking, pardon me, ma'am, I've been taking little tick marks tonight, and what most residents that I'm hearing as a general, and most residents tonight I'm hearing, number one issue is litter. Litter. Number one issue was litter. Number two is retail. And with number three, I'm sorry, Mark back there, and number three, again, being public safety and lighting. Everyone is talking about the lighting. I want to not to put too much of an additional level of work on city staff, but what I want to do is, Mr. City Manager, I know I reached out to you about this previously, about inviting the Washington Prime Group in front of City Hall and having them talk. I want to kind of expand upon that, Mr. City Manager. If I would like, with my colleagues' support of bringing every owner of each retail shopping center and forward in front of council, maybe not at all one time, no, but maybe one at a time, and announcing it as we've done our listening sessions, because and if we could start with the Bowie Town Center, the Washington Prime Group, because I think these retailers need to hear directly from the residents that are feeding these shopping centers. One, they need to be told what type of stores or quality of retail that they want here. You're talking, as the young lady in the back there mentioned earlier, she stressed the level of education and financials and home sales in the community. I know Debbie just left in Bowie that could speak to that. If your home value is $500,000 and above, but yet the best quality store is a beauty mart, it's likely that your home is going to lose interest to a high-end buyer. I was just sitting here thinking, if you're looking at the homes in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, they're equivalent to our homes in Bowie. The incomes are equivalent to our incomes in Tyson's and Bowie incomes, but yet we're paying less for the homes. They cost less here in Bowie, which says you have more income than the incomes, and you have more disposable income. So therefore, we should attract the Nordstroms, the Lord & Taylors, the Bloomingdales. I mean, this is an affluent community, and I just, you go around, if I see another beauty mart, I'm going to scream, or it's just ridiculous. Someone mentioned the Dollar General. Okay, yes, we need those sort of stores. We need our Walmarts, but we need something above Target, because we don't have that right now. We have nothing above Target. I think that the average income in Bowie is somewhere around 110 a year, and we have no good quality retail. So I think if we could, Mr. City Manager, I hate to put this additional burden on you, but if we could have the Washington Prime Group out first and publicizing it as we've done in our boards and telling residents to come out, line up, telling the Washington Prime Group, telling Bowie Town Center, I don't like the quality of stores there. I would like to see more of this. Telling Free State Mall, telling the different marketplace and the different and Hilltop, telling these owners what you want to see. I know there was a resident who mentioned the inability to walk from Walgreens to Aldi's, and because of the traffic. We need to address those things with the retailers directly and let them hear it. Because if they don't straighten it up, maybe then we'll look at boycotting.
Okay, can I make one comment before I leave? Because he specifically mentioned Nordstrom. I had a relationship with some of those people about 4 years ago. We met and we talked about a Nordstrom's, and they said they would never come to Prince George's because of the school system.
Wow.
My goal was to get you out of here by 9 o'clock, so we are approaching the bewitching hour. So if you could make your comments very brief, but I think...
Yeah, I just want to do something really quick. As you guys know, Bowie is a beautiful community. We are a part-time council, but we actually really work full-time on behalf of our residents, and we set the policies for us. But if everyone who works for the city and the city police department, can you guys stand up really quick, please? Can you guys give them a round of applause for the work that they do? Our city manager doesn't smile that much, but he's a friendly guy. These are the people who make Bowie move forward, right? These are the people who help us day to day to make Bowie the beautiful place that it is. So if you see them, please thank them, because they're helping us out a lot too.
Hi, I forgot to say, my name is Charlene Bierstow, and the other thing is, for people who want to re-engage in changing work or having workers programs, I know that's a great way to help people in the community who are not in that higher income. And maybe having an incubator, that was what I've always heard, that we would have a business incubator that will, for sewing, for women who want to learn how to sew. I was in the bank the other day and I asked a woman, do you know how to use your sewing machine? And a lot of women, I've just taken an informal study, say they have sewing machines but they don't use them. And so thinking about some things like that for older workers to re-gear also. Thank you. Also, this one last thing, the cell phone towers cause fighting. That's been a link. And so I was talking about a fight today in Bowie High. I do go to the library often and I do shepherd the kids. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Bairstow.
Hi.
And last but not least.
Hi, sorry. I wasn't going to say anything, but because the retail thing keeps coming up about Bowie Town Center, I'm going to just make a comment for whatever it's worth. I live in Glen Allen, and at least 3 years, I would say approximately at least 3 years, the HOA meeting that we have, we had noticed that Bowie Town Center was going down. Before Watt Chapel was built, and we found out, I think that's a Simon Properties.
It was Simon.
It was. Okay, and what was? You mean Bowie Town Center?
Bowie Town Center was Simon.
Okay, at the time, Simon was at Bowie, and they were building Watt Chapel, I believe.
Simon doesn't own Watt Chapel. They're not. It's another group.
Okay.
Oh, but go on.
So Simon did own Bowie Town Center.
Yes.
Okay. And so we found out while Chapel was being built, we wanted to find out why the retail stores were changing and why they were moving to Watt Chapel. So a few of us got together just on our own and went into different stores at Bowie Town Center to ask the question. One of the residents, who I don't think she lives in Bowie anymore, I haven't seen her at the meetings recently, but she did a lot of research to find out that we did have the education level that those stores were seeking. We did have the household
Median
income. We had all that. The one thing that was different was the demographic change of the people in Bowie. And she had looked to see how many blacks, how many whites were in Bowie like 2 years ago now, and whenever she looked at that. So when she brought that to the meeting, and this is unofficial, so that's what I'm saying, for whatever it's worth. I don't know what you all can do about that, but I did go into Bath & Beyond before they moved to Watt Chapel, and I talked with a couple of the people there, and then one person, I asked about that, and they said, okay, oh, well, we want to move to Watt Chapel. Then as I was going out of the store, one of the African-American women who worked there, who had a higher position, she wasn't just like a sales clerk. She, I don't know, was a buyer, I'm not sure what her role was there. She pulled me aside, and she said, it doesn't matter, you all could come in and spend $1,000 or whatever. We make the amount of money that we need to make here at Bowie Town Center. It comes down to Bowie is becoming more African American and changing in the demographics of the people. That's the only reason, and that's why we're moving. Now, what can you do with that? I don't know, because that's more of a prejudice type thing. That's not something I think you can put your hands on to say, this is why it's doing. But I want to tell you that because that's my personal opinion. I mean, my personal story of my personal experience, and I then soon saw that Bath & Beyond closed here, and it did go to Watt Chapel. That's it. So whatever you can do with that, I don't know.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say, let me say something about this. We did look into, not to be in dispute with anybody, there might be a lot of motives, but one of the reasons why several of the stores that were here moved to Watt Chapel was a standard business practice for new commercial developments is to undercut the rent and to make it just impossible for those folks to stay there, but to save a lot more money to move here. And that occurred. The people that moved to Watt Chapel in the immediate future of its establishment, they got significant breaks on their rent, lower than what was over here, so it was in their business interest to move, and there may have been other motivations, but I know that's a fact. So, because people like to make money. One of the things about, with retail's really tough now. With Amazon, the e-commerce, with Walmart and Target, it's tough for any retail operations to survive. Because as you all know, you think about it, you click on it, and it shows up at your house the next day, right? Why go someplace and buy it? So in order for retail to survive today, and it may change 5 years from now, you really have to have people living on the location with the retail to keep it alive. Now, if you go to Watt Chapel and you go to that grocery store there, 50 yards behind it is a large townhouse community. Right across the street is a very large condo community. Those people come out of there and buy and spend their money on the essentials right there. And that's the difference. And that's what, but it's not just Bowie Town Center. Every strip mall in the United States has that problem today. If people aren't living on there, on those facilities, then somebody's got to come to them And why do that when you can go to Target, Walmart, or Amazon, God bless Amazon, and think about it, and it shows up 12 hours later. So the retail that exists is what is surviving. And just keep that in mind. I'm not discounting anything everybody said, but that's the life of retail in the United States. And we are actively recruiting and attempting to recruit everybody. You're right, we do have the demographics. But when you look at revitalization plans and actions elsewhere, you'll always find a residential close proximity component to a surviving mall, town center, or anything like that. Look at the Laurel Town Center. Right behind it are hundreds of condos and apartments. That's why it's thriving, because if the people outside don't come, the people right behind it are going to come over there to eat and shop and do what they do. And that's how things are surviving today. Thank you. Well, you're right, and I'm aware of that because I live in College Park. But the fact, that's why they built it there, because the housing was already there. And they knew they were, well, the mall was a dump, okay? It was really bad. And they built something really nice because they had all those people living there. And they were bringing new housing in there, right behind it. And that's what helped us survive. We'll talk. Catch me up.
We are just about out of time. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this evening.
Please mention the census to this group of people here.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Judge. On your way out, there's flyers about the U.S. Census. Census Day is
Una,
first.
I think the mayor
Please
wanted
do
to.
it. I wanted to recognize Delegate Valentino Smith, who is back in the back of the room. Thank you for joining us. She also was a former Bowie council member. We've done 2 of these listening sessions. We have 2 more to go. The next one is on February 13th. We hope you can join us.
Una, I think the mayor had one more thing to say.
Okay. Let me just say, you can watch this on the government channel and on the website. And email us comments, publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. And Mayor Adams, would you like to close us out here? Can you speak up?
Quick things for you. And I think we all agree that when it comes to retail, one of the things we're trying to do, just like with these listening sessions, we're trying to put together a task force to look at what's going on with retail. And so we'll hopefully be able to validate what's going on with retail and trying to get the quality here. More importantly, I just want to thank everyone for coming out again this evening. I just want to make sure everyone understands that when it comes to Bowie State University, the city is looking to reach out and work closely with Bowie State. And more importantly, we want to make sure that we continue to listen to what your recommendations are, what your concerns are, and just to remember that we're one city and one Bowie. And thank you again for coming out this evening.
Thank you.